today, Governor Greg Abbott, Speaker Dustin Burrows, Chairman of the Texas House Committee on Public Education, Brad Buckley, Acting Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, Kelly Hancock, and one of our own local legislators, State Representative Caroline Fairley. We are honored to host you. We are honored to host you in Amarillo ISD, and we are excited for you to see our school district. We have many reasons to be proud. Our 29,000 students fill our schools with energy, excitement, and a love of learning each morning. Our parents are deeply engaged in student success on campus and at home, and our teachers and staff pour their hearts and their energy into their work, whether they are teaching a class, caring for students in the health room, serving lunch in the cafeteria, or cleaning our campuses after everyone else has gone home for the night. All of our employees contribute to the education of our students, and we are grateful for them. As a public school district, we welcome every student, and we understand that each student has unique needs. Our commitment to innovation is exceptionally evident right here at Amtech Career Academy, one of the crown jewels of our school district and the only campus of its kind in the Panhandle. This campus serves students who are creating their own future. It allows them to plug into their passions, everything from technology to medical families within AISD. Our district has taken action over the past year to prohibit cell phones during instructional time. The results have been positive. We have seen how our policy has helped students to focus on learning while at school and supported our teachers to manage their classrooms better. Representative Fairley, congratulations on your bill. We are eager to continue working with you on behalf of the students, parents, and taxpayers of Amarillo. And Governor Abbott, Speaker Burrows, Chairman Buckley, thank you again for being here. We are honored by your presence. We hope you can see that our educators, our parents, and our community are all invested in the success of our students and the health of our public schools. We are grateful for your partnership, and we hope to welcome you back to Amarillo ISD in the near future. Thank you very much.
Listen, I want to thank you for your kind words, and I want to thank everybody for being out here today. We are here today to sign several pieces of legislation that Representative Fairley had a pivotal role to play in. Before I get to that, however, let me mention two other topics. One is, some of you may know that over the past couple of days, the state of Texas has issued weather warnings for this region to expect maybe heavy rainfall, maybe even some hail later on today. Monitoring the weather on my way in, it looked like the storm was headed this way. It was around in the northern New Mexico, northeast New Mexico area. There is some heavy rain down in the Lubbock region as we speak, and later on today. Bottom line is this. When we see what can happen with weather, we don't take any chances. We want to be prepared. The Texas Division of Emergency Management has provided water rescue boats and other equipment to all the various regions across the entire state of Texas that could be impacted by heavier rain here in the coming 24 to 48 hours, including in the greater Amarillo area. As we've seen with other weather events like what happened down in the Kerrville area, it's hard to predict precisely where the weather may hit. So we can station resources in advance in the Amarillo area, knowing that we will be able to get them immediately to whatever area may be heavily affected. Along those lines, also, it's very important to point out that Speaker Burrows, as well as members of both the House and the Senate, had hearings in Kerrville yesterday to address the ongoing needs of everybody affected by the floods, not just in that region, but also the deadly floods that occurred in central Texas, ranging all the way up to San Angelo, Texas. This is a flood episode of the most extreme proportions, meaning the worst ever in the history of the state of Texas, especially as it concerns the number of lives lost. And we are working on legislation as we speak right now in a special session to make sure that the needs of all of those people affected by those floods are going to be addressed, but while doing so, also make sure that the needs of emergency response in every region going forward will be met also. It was Kerrville this year. It could be Amarillo next year. We don't know. What we do know is this: we have to be prepared. Second thing I want to talk about generally, and then I will plug in legislation that Representative Fairley was heavily involved in. I'm the only governor in the history of Texas to talk about Texas working to become ranked #1 in educating our children. To be #1, which we are in so many categories, to be #1 requires more than just a talking point. It requires far more than just an aspiration. It requires detailed strategies and then working to achieve those strategies. And there are several components of that, some of which we passed during the session. One is ensuring that every parent is going to be fully empowered to be involved in their child's education and choose the pathway that's best for their child. And that's why we passed the largest Day One school choice program in the history of the United States of America. The leader of that was Brad Buckley right over here. Brad, why don't you step forward a little bit and wave your hand, let them see who you are. But I'm calling on you again right now because school choice is a component of part of the puzzle pieces to make sure we become #1. Another component is to make sure that our public schools are fully funded. And we achieve that goal by providing more than $8 billion to fully fund our public schools this past year. And again, Representative Brad Buckley was the chair and leadership of that effort. And then another part of the stepping stones to ensure that we're going to be the best state for educating our kids is to attract and keep the best and brightest teachers. Having excellent teachers in the classroom, they achieve far more with regard to getting the best out of our students and better educating our students. And to be able to attract and to retain those teachers, we passed the largest teacher pay raise in the history of Texas this session to get those teachers. And then there's another part that is so important to the future of education, but so important to the future of the United States of America. And that is education programs like AmTech Career Academy. Career and technology education programs are vital in the state of Texas, vital in the United States for two purposes. One, they are so important to the students. A lot of students want to go on to a four-year college, but a four-year college is not right for everybody. What a lot of students realize when they're in high school, they realize that they really like a certain area of career and technology that is going to lead to a very good paying job. It could be a welding job, an electrician job, or it could be a job fixing automobiles. Like I saw before coming in here, I got kind of a tour of some of the things that were going on in this college. But there's something else going on that's sweeping across the world as we speak right now that raises a lot of concerns among a lot of people about what's going to happen to all these jobs. And that issue is artificial intelligence, advanced technology. There are some stories that, in my opinion, that they provide false information about what it's going to do to jobs. They talk as though it's going to eliminate jobs, which it will eliminate some, but in the aggregate, it's going to add more jobs. Let me give you one quick example and then a detail. The one quick example is this. We live in a time today where we are in the most advanced technology in the history of the United States of America, and yet, even though we have the most advanced technology, we have one of the lowest unemployment rates ever in the history of America. As we continue to advance rapidly in the implementation of artificial intelligence and things go along with it like robotics, we're going to see that some jobs that exist right now are going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. But at the very same time, there's going to be new kinds of jobs. They're going to be more interesting. They're going to pay even more money for our students. And many of those are being taught here or worked on right here on this campus. Well, one thing that is taught here on this campus for students at all the Amarillo schools that want to come here and work on it is robotics. Robotics is one of these next generation jobs that's going to be in extraordinary demand. And that extraordinary demand is being learned right here, and the students that learn that right here are going to be taking that skill set going into some future job that's going to pay far more than maybe some other job they could get. Another one is understanding the room we're in right now is used for drone competitions. Drones are going to be, are going to be used prolifically. They are used prolifically already, and that proliferation is only going to continue. Students right here in Amarillo are getting high-level exposure to next-generation technology of drones that will use things like artificial intelligence, as well as coding and other components of what they learn in education. They're going to lead to not only high-paying jobs, but essential jobs for the future. So yes, the world's going to change a little bit in the types of jobs that are available. But the education process that we provide our students changes at the same time and ensures that Texas, by getting kids in Amarillo trained on robotics, trained on drones, ensure that component of keeping Texas or putting Texas on a pathway to being ranked number one is going to be met. And so I want to, and I think we shall all give it up to Amtech Career Academy for the great job that they do. We also have with us today someone who was a senator at the time that the legislation we're about to talk about went into place. But after the session was over, he has now taken over as the acting comptroller and running to be the next comptroller for the state of Texas, and that is Kelly Hancock right here, acting comptroller of the great state of Texas. Now to this legislation. And again, to keep it in the same context I was talking about what Texas needs to do to be on the pathway to rank number one in education. And I'll list several things required for that. Let me add one more. One more is that if we're going to be number one, it's going to require the undivided attention of our students in the classroom. Right now, the way that classrooms operate, the attention of our students is taken in a lot of different directions, in part because of the cell phone in their hand, in their pocket, in their purse, or whatever the case may be. Educators and researchers have raised concerns about the impact that smartphones have on student learning and student engagement. Teachers report that phones are a persistent source of distraction in the classroom. They hinder instruction time, and they undermine academic performance. Well, your own leader right here from Amarillo, Caroline Fairley, led the way in writing a bill that addresses those concerns. Thank you, Representative Caroline Fairley, for getting legislation to my desk. It is House Bill 1481 that she worked on along with think Senator Creighton.
Yes, sir.
Senator Creighton, and I'll sign here shortly. Let me just briefly describe what it does, and we'll sign it here in a second. It requires all public schools to restrict cell phone use by students during the school day. It gives, however, school districts flexibility to establish policies that meet the unique needs of their particular district. We know in Austin, Texas, we can't pass a one-size-fits-all program that's going to work in Amarillo as well as McAllen at the same time. So we're giving a level of flexibility to Amarillo ISD to be able to make sure that they're going to be able to maintain policies that keep phones out of the hands of students during instruction time, but also knowing that certain parents will have needs, certain students will have needs, and the school may have certain needs, all of which the school board will be able to address. So once again, I want to thank Representative Fairley and Senator Creighton for their work on that bill, which I'll sign in 1 second. I'm going to sign two together. Another one is one that Representative Fairley also worked on. Also, it involves our children and phones, but addresses it from a different direction. One thing that we're very concerned about with students is, again, their time and focus in classes, but also their mental health and their personal health and what's happening to them, especially what's happening to them by exposure, not only to use of a cell phone, but by things like social media. Experts have explained that smartphones and social media affect the mental health of children. It can become highly addictive. It can subject children to adult contact and even sexual exploitation. Those are just some of the reasons why the legislature passed Senate Bill 2420. It's also known as the App Store Accountability Act. It requires app stores like the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, to verify users' age when creating an account. Parental consent must be obtained before a minor can download an app or make an in-app purchase. What this does, it rightfully restores power back to parents over what their children are doing. To give you a feel for how important this is, not just in Texas, but nationally, some of the groups that weighed in and said that we needed to get this bill passed included not just the Texas Medical Association, the Texas Pediatric Association, but also the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. I want to thank Senator Paxton as well as Representative Fairley for getting this legislation to my desk. And now, let me sign these laws. House Bill 1481 and Senate Bill 2420 are now the law of the great state of Texas. So these laws and so many others that made Texas a better state over the course of this session, including those laws that allowed Texas now to pass school choice, put Texas on a pathway to be ranked #1 in education, but so much more that occurred this session, unlike other sessions, because we had the most effective speaker of the Texas House since during the entirety of my tenure as governor, and that is Speaker Dustin Burrows from Lubbock, Texas.
Thank you, Governor. I want to underscore a couple of the comments our governor made. This was the most historic session for education since I've been there, as many have told me, probably in all their memory that they could ever find. We made a historic investment in our public schools, $8.5 billion. That is the largest investment in public education in the entire history of Texas, even after adjusting for inflation. That is money that's going to our classrooms, to our teachers, to our auxiliary personnel like cafeteria workers, making sure they get the raises they deserve. Investments in CTE, school security, things that are so important. Beyond that, we did bills that were parental bills of rights, teachers' bills of rights, so they have the tools to discipline children and restore order to the classroom. As the governor mentioned, the chairman in the House who served over that, Brad Buckley, is here with us today, along with his wife Susan, who both have real personal firsthand experience and helped get these across the finish line. But this is what I know. No matter how much we put into the classroom, no matter what we do, if we cannot hold the students' attention, we're not going to have an environment where they can learn. If our teachers have to compete with cell phones, if we have to compete with the apps they shouldn't have access to, there's not much that we can do, which is why this is so important. Governor Abbott, I've thanked you for many of the legislation that you have filed as the Speaker of the House. I'm also the father of 3 boys. Here in a couple of weeks, one's going to be in high school, one's going to be in junior high, one's going to be in elementary. Pickups are going to be a little bit different, and drop-offs. But I also know firsthand what it's like trying to compete for their attention. And these two bills are going to help not only them, but also the students around them and the educators do what needs to be done. So thank you, Governor Abbott, for making these laws. Let me brag on y'all's Representative Fairley. I know everybody in this room has gotten to know her and knows how lucky y'all are to have her. I've known many legislators who've come, and in their 3rd term, they couldn't pass a single bill such as this. In her very first term, she showed up ready to work in one of the brightest and most sophisticated members we have seen, and this is a testament to her hard work for you. And as a proud member of the West Texas delegation out of Lubbock, there's not many of us left, but we all work together. We are so thankful that you've sent her to be part of that to get things done. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Governor. Well, first off, thank you all for being here today. We had such a great turnout. As I'm looking around the room, I see so many advocates and those who believed in these bills. And so thank you all for being here. I thank you to AISD for hosting us here. I couldn't think of a better place to host a bill signing than Amtech. I mean, this place is incredible. I'm so glad that the governor and the speaker could be here to see it for themselves. So thank you all for being here. As I look around the room, I am reminded of really why we're here today. Phone-free schools is about getting this distraction out of the classroom so that our teachers can teach and so that our kids can focus. And the App Store Accountability Act, we have ensured to be sure that, big tech is not in the driver's seat, but that parents are, and that they should have the right to decide on what access their kids have access to on their phones. And more than anything, in this session, I have learned 2 things. One is that hard work, it pays off in Austin. And the second one being is that you don't get anything done by yourself. I have Chairman Brad Buckley to thank. He is the chair of public education, and he allowed me graciously to lay out one of these bills and was really instrumental in the phone-free schools bill, in drafting the policy to be sure the language was practical and it made sense, and we allowed for local control, and was such a huge advocate. So thank you, Chairman Buckley. And then to our speaker, Dustin Burrows, he was such an advocate on both of these bills, and being sure that there was momentum to getting them across the finish line, and having the support that we needed to be sure that these became law. And then finally, our governor, Greg Abbott. Y'all, there was a lot of outside and really a tremendous amount of pressure on the governor to not sign these bills. But let me make it clear that our governor, he made it clear that here in Texas, we prioritize our children over special interest. When I was first running for office, I had a woman here, a very prominent, well-known woman here in Amarillo, approach me, and she said, "Caroline, you're too young to run for office. You're not going to be effective in Austin, and you should step down and not run." And in that moment, I had all the more determination to be effective in Austin. But the truth is, well, thank you. The truth is that the success that I had this first session, it wasn't all that I thought it would be, compared and followed up to the conversation and the things this woman said. Because really the success is it's your success. I wouldn't be here without those of you here who have supported me, who voted me in to go to Austin, who believed in a 26-year-old young woman running for the Texas House. I wouldn't be here. Yes, thank you all. I would not be here without the many advocates. We had advocates fly from out of the state, from around the state to testify on these bills. We had parents and teachers and students that I sat down with to talk about this legislation and how it would impact them and how to keep the local control on this legislation. I had phone calls and emails. My staff was incredible when it came to these, and the success was theirs. And then finally, we had Maureen Molak. She flew in from San Antonio to testify on both of these bills about her own personal story about how she lost a son to phones and to cyberbullying. And she came and she shared her story. And so the truth is, we were successful in these bills. It was all of us, and I couldn't have done it without you. And I really do believe that both of these bills will have a lasting and enduring impact on our families, on our students' health, on our teachers and educators. And I could not be more proud to be a part of the team that delivered it. So thank you so much.
And now we have Melissa Denny.
Thank you. As I get to speak today to you as a teacher in AISD who experienced our cell phone policy last year, I was very excited for that, because what an off in the way or out of sight, out of mind policy does is it allows kids to be what they're supposed to be. It frees them to be what they're supposed to be in the moment, and that's kids. It allows them to, in the learning environment, to be a student. They're empowered to do that. There's nothing else that is the distraction, and we know it's a distraction. I'm looking at some of you guys on your phones. Just saying. All right. So what I experienced in class is that the kids were able to not only listen to instruction, but also listen to their peers. Because in a learning environment, it's not about just what the teacher says. It's about what their peers are saying, the questions that they're asking, the comments that they're giving, the clarifications that they're getting, the interaction that they're getting. And when I'm able to sit next to someone and interact interpersonally with them as a student, without that distraction, because it is a distraction, that buzz in my pocket or that buzz under my leg, they put their phones under their leg, makes me want to know what's going on, or that flashing light, or the music in my ear, I'm not engaging fully with the people that I'm sitting with and working with. I'm able to collaborate when I put that phone away and it's off and it's not even a part of what I'm thinking about. I'm able to collaborate, communicate, solve problems with people, run ideas by each other, do group projects where we're fully engaged with that and we're not on our phone trying to find the answer, but we're talking as a group. I teach speech, but that goes toward every classroom. The children need to be speaking to each other and interacting with each other and listening to the teachers. A lot of people think, well, it will be difficult to put that policy into place. And with anything, when there's a routine or a procedure that you have, it takes a little bit of work. But I think teachers are willing to do that because we will see the impact. What I saw is that students got more of their work done in class where I could be there to help them or their peers could help them. And they weren't just taking it home because they spent, you get on your phone to just check that snap and you go, oh, well, I've got to do the threads. The children got to take care of those things or the texts. And then they've spent 30 minutes on their phone instead of using that class time wisely. So even though there are a lot of things that people go, well, what if this, what if this, what if this? Those are the things we work out in the classroom. And that's what teachers have been doing all along, is working out all those policies and procedures and routines in the classroom. And it worked last year. And I think what will be an end result of that is it's a really good thing for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, for that great testimony. And while I'm saying thank you, I want to toss out several more thank yous. One is, let's give it up for all the students who are here. As far as I know, school hasn't even started yet, and we got pretty good attendance already. Also, I know arrayed around the room are a lot of local elected officials at a lot of different levels, as well as local public servants who may not be elected but are still serving to make this region far better. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being with us here today. Then a very special thank you. Whenever I come to the region, we always have leadership from Texas Tech University, as we do today. So thank y'all for being here once again. With that, we'll be happy to take a few questions. Let's do the press first. I'll come back to you in a second.
Yes, sir. That's a great question. Those of you who didn't hear, he asked, this is your first piece of legislation. What drew you to focus on these bills? So I would say a number of reasons. One, I am first Gen Z in the Texas House, and I grew up in the digital world and era and saw firsthand how devices can be positive and how they can be negative. And having that experience and also the wealth of knowledge that we have in the Texas House, there's a huge need and gap for, I believe, gearing up the next generation who are independent thinkers and aren't distracted by these smart devices. And I don't know if any of you have read The Anxious Generation as well, but Jonathan Haidt, this was a legislative idea he came up with that was really practical. 7 other states have passed this bill, and so that was where this idea originated. Thank you.
And this is for anyone out there. Is there other bills that are being looked at to truly make the schools safer? I mean, as far as auditing the schools, restricting certain people from being handguns, whatever.
So making sure that schools are safe is an ongoing process. And we continue to invest more. Part of the money that we spent on schools this year was to make schools safer, provide more resources for the schools to accomplish that goal. We have an obligation to make sure we make schools as safe as possible. I will tell you something interesting that has surfaced here in the past few months, and that is a new tool that's very effective that we look forward to attempting to deploy sometime either this year or maybe next year. And that is the use of drones to make schools safer. And so maybe drones that are made right here at this location could be deployed to make Amarillo schools a whole lot safer. But as technology continues to evolve, it is a far more effective tool at a lower cost to make schools safer. And we will never relent or let up in ensuring that our schools are as safe as they can be.
Governor Abbott, how does this help support your mission to make Texas the #1 education system in the United States?
When you say this, you talking about these bills or something else?
House Bill or Senate Bill 1481.
So listen, for both of these bills, Caroline said it perfectly, and that is, we got it, and Melissa did also, we have to make sure that during the few minutes we have in a class where children have the opportunity to learn a particular subject in that class, their full attention is devoted to that subject, whether it be in reading what they're supposed to be reading, writing what they're supposed to be writing, listening and interacting with a teacher, or listening and interacting with other students. Those are the components that lead to a more robust absorption by the student of the class content, as opposed to being constantly diverted away from that by your phone ringing, a text coming in, a social media post coming in, whatever the case may be. It does just require that undivided attention, and that means that the students will be learning more in every class that they have.
And do you believe that 1481 will help support student safety and school safety as well?
It does. Both of them work towards that, because part of the safety is getting kids away from things that would be occurring over the course of social media that could either cause them to overreact to a situation or could lure them into an endangered situation. And we want to protect children from any types of those encounters. And so I think both pieces of legislation not only help students be better students, but also safer students.
More questions?
I have one more. Rep. Fairley, why do you think it's so important to give our local school districts, the power to determine their own policies under this 1481 bill?
Well, the governor also mentioned this earlier. Texas is not a one-size-fits-all. And so when you look at legislation, Texas is so diverse. The Panhandle versus your urban areas are very, very different. And we want to allow school districts to implement the policy that they see best fit for their kids. The principle of the bill is the phones do not need to be out to have a distraction during the class day and during instructional time. And so we believed when we crafted this legislation with the help of Chairman Buckley and the Speaker to be sure that we allowed as much local control so that in that community we allowed them to craft policies that were best for the parents and the students and the educators.
Great. You have a question? Go for it.
Thank you, Governor. And I don't have much of a question, but I have a thank you for you and Caroline, because I spoke on this bill. My name is Castaneda Fitzpatrick. I am a 14-year survivor of sexual exploitation. Because of signing this bill, I just wanted to say they got me when I was 10 years old. So when I went to the senator and I went and spoke on this bill and testified on this bill, and I know there's a lot of children in this room, but I am what your child can become. So I want to thank you, Governor, for protecting our children, because I don't want another child to have to go through what I went through at the age of 10 years old, and I was out there for 31 years. And thank you. I'm glad to be in this room, and I want to give you a personal gift, you and Caroline. It's a copy of my book. It's called 31 Years in the Desert. Because when my mother let go of me when I was 10 years old, that's when the streets grabbed a hold to me. I was trapped in a house for 2 weeks when my traffickers did whatever they wanted to do with me. I lost my childhood, and there's so many children in this room, and I don't want anything ever to happen to them or for them to live the life that I had to live at a young age. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your help.
She highlighted something that we talked about but must be doubled down on. When a child goes onto a social media site, when they start chatting with someone, it may seem like it's harmless. It may almost seem like they're developing a friend. But it could be that it really is a predator. Predators are so savvy, and they can suck a young child into a compromised situation that child may not be able to get out of. And I wish you were the only example of the story that existed. But the fact of the matter is, you well know, there are so many others like you who got trapped into a situation beyond their control, especially at a young age. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for what you did in the session to help this bill become a reality. Thank you all. God bless you all, and God bless our great state.
Take care. Sure. Hey. Of course.
We are teachers here.
Here at EdTech.
What do y'all teach? I'm the internship program, so I do internships for seniors here.
Construction technology teacher.
Yes, in case we didn't get one late, sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just taking pictures.
I'm sorry. Told you I was going to squeeze through. Hi, how are you?
Sorry.
He'll be all right. He's okay.
All right. Thank y'all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed
Yeah.
the deadline.
Yeah. Susan, they did. Susan works at Fairley. They banned the cell phone, and then Caroline was so gracious because when she was asking me questions, she said, "Talk to somebody."
Channel 10.
Yes.
Step right here.
Thank you.
Hey, Madison.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you Ellie?
Yes,
Nice
good to
to
see
meet
you.
So Tim could call. Try to get me not to sign.
Oh my God.
Good boy.
So,
John calls up, it's going to be something else.
No, but I'll let you guys grab a little bit more people, but then I gotta let you guys. It's a little tight here.
No, I understand.
I like it.
Just want to say hi to you.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
You guys
Keeping the city Texas.
Exactly.
Will of Steel. Thank you.
Of course.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to get out of this one.
Check those out too.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, and thank you so much. I'm going to
God bless you.
Right.
Hey,
You guys just want to put your camera somewhere else and come back. You guys want to say hi? Yeah.
that's excellent. You want a picture?
Thank you,
Let
Jacob.
me.
No, you're fine.
Excuse me.
Moving out.
It's a lot of things.
Like, how does it compare to other buildings?
I sure can. Thank you very much.